Good afternoon, and welcome to our continuing series with our beloved Kittu Reddy. Namaste. Today, Kittu is going to tell us about his army experience, and we'll put off the ideal of human unity until next week. How did you begin?
So it happened like this. In 1987, there was a student of mine who had passed out quite some time back. His name was Arvind Habbu, from the Habbu family, Meenakshi Habbu, Arvind Habbu, Hemant Habbu. Hemant Habbu still comes here. Father is dead, mother is there somewhere in Pune. He was a very ardent nationalist. And that year he went in October to Mount Kailas. It's a very tough journey. And there were many people. And there was a lady who was getting a lot of frostbite. So he naturally helped her. Everybody helped each other, but he helped her a lot. So after the trip, she told Arvind that why don't you come to my place in Jhansi? And she happened to be the wife of Major General Ajay Singh, who later became Lieutenant General, then Army Commander, and also became Governor of Assam. Wonderful man, very straight. So sometime in November 1987, I got a letter on his letterhead written by Arvind inviting me to give a talk on India in Jhansi. So I had never given a talk before that outside. I had whatever was inside. So I didn't know what to do. My mother was not there, so I went and asked Prananda. Prananda said, go. This is also mother's work, so don't feel shy, don't feel hesitant, and if you can put forward Shobinder's vision and viewpoint, that will be very good for them. So I went via Pune, where Arvind stays, and then I reached Jhansi.
This was what year?
1987.
87.
So I have no experience of the army, no contact with the army, nothing. So as we were entering the station, I saw a lot of Jawans standing there. So I was wondering what they are doing. When the train stopped and I got down, they knew which coach, and there was a poster, Professor Kittu Reddy, and about 20 people came, picked me up, put in a car, with one car behind, one car in front. I was treated like a very senior army officer. So I was put in their guest houses. It's known as Alpha Guest House. It's one of the best guest houses. And then I was invited for dinner. So I went for dinner. And then we had a long conversation. And I found that he was very receptive, very open. I reached there on the 7th of December. My talk was on the 12th. And in typical army fashion, they made me see all the beautiful places around. Khajuraho temple, this, that. Going in the morning in a car with somebody always accompanying me and a driver. Another jeep behind with food. And we stop for lunch. They make the food hot, ready immediately. You eat. So it was a wonderful trip. And then I was really enamored by the army. And then after I came back, I found out that mother had spoken very highly of the army. In fact, she had written to Indira Gandhi in 1969 when there was a clash between the army and police in West Bengal. And mother said, Indira will not know what to do, So I sent her a telegram. For God's sake, support the army. It is India's only hope. The army is good, but it is not supported. So that is after I came back. So that gave me much more enthusiasm. And then I found that the army is extremely well organized. And another quality which what they say, what they mean, what they say, and what they do, absolutely the same. There is no diplomacy. Either they keep silent or they will tell you exactly what they feel. And if they don't like you, like a hot potato, they will drop you. If they like you, they will do everything for you. So on December 12th, I had to give a talk at small army, not small, big army cantonment, Babina. And the title was A Vision of India. So I gave them a talk and they said it was extremely good, but it is at a much higher level than here. It should be spoken in Delhi and very important centers because the quality is of a very high order. Well, I came back and there was some correspondence going on between me and the army general. Otherwise, nothing else happened. Then in 1990, something happened which I did not realize would make a lot of difference. General Ashok Chatterjee, who lives in Auroville.
Yes, I know him.
He was a very, very senior officer. He could have become the chief. But there were 2 or 3 contenders. They told him, you just pull out. He said, I have no problem at all. He retired on May 31st. On June 1st, he was here. And he had heard about me because of that talk there, So he contacted me. He came straight to my house. And then after that, I used to go to his house. But there was no contact with the army. Then suddenly in 1990, November, he told me that I am going on a tour of all the areas where I have commanded in Kashmir and Srinagar. Would you like to come with me? I said, yes, sure. So, October 20th, 10 days before the school closed, we 2 went, had a long tour. And there I came to know how the army works. A really intimate contact. I had to give a few talks on India. Then I came back and people in the ashram knew that I had gone to the army. Then Colonel Chaudhary, I don't know if you know, his children have studied here, Anuradha and...
Oh yes, I know him well.
The Colonel Chaudhary.
Oh yes.
He told me that my boss, brigadier, coming from Secunderabad, you show him round. I was not interested at all, but then I couldn't refuse. And then when he came, to the ashram and I had to meet him, within 5 minutes I realized that he knew Savitri by heart almost, was a writer of poetry and had read a lot of Sri Aurobido's poetry. Then we became very good friends. So then we spent a lot of time. And then he told me that if ever you come out to Secunderabad, you stay with me. I said, I don't know when I will go or whether I will go. I don't remember the year, might be the same year. Anand Reddy's Institute of Human Studies. It was celebrating its silver jubilee or something like that. And I had allowed Anand Reddy to put up an exhibition in the exhibition hall. I had helped him in a very big way. So he invited me to Secunderabad. We are celebrating our some jubilee. You can come there and give a talk. I said, all right. So Vishwajit and myself, we went. And naturally I informed this gentleman Suresh Thadari. No, I informed, General Chatterjee that I'm going there. And then this gentleman who had come here, brigadier, was Suresh Thadani. So I informed him that I'm in Secunderabad, I'll come and meet you one day. He said, no, you will not meet me, you will come and stay with me. So he picked me out from their guest house and took me to his house. I gave my talks there, but I stayed with them. But then what happened was that, with the army, every week or every 3 days there is a party. And since I was living there, became a member of the party. And there is in Secunderabad an institute called College of Defence Management, CDM. So that gentleman was in the Air Force and we started talking. He said, my God, everything that you think and I think is exactly the same. I didn't know that Shravinder said all this. So he said, we'll keep in touch. So I came back and within a few months he invited me to Secunderabad to give some talks on management, and not one but a series. In the meanwhile, General Chatterjee said that since you are going there, I will arrange that you go to Pune also and give a talk in Pune at the National Defence Academy, all 18-year-olds. So I stayed in Secunderabad for a whole week. As far as I remember, I took Matri Prasad with me. We had a kind of workshop where we interacted, question answer, and I presented nothing to do with military tactics and all that, but how to keep your motivation intact, leaderships, what are the qualities of a leader. And motivation is very important in the army because it is a matter of life and death. But the army is a pyramidal structure. So many captains, and after that there are so many lieutenant colonels, and so many colonels, and so many brigadiers. So every time you move up, many drop out. You have colleagues for 10 years, coming 10, 12, 15 years. I am dropped and I go up. And then there is a lot of, heart biting. Because you feel that I also should have been up. But since it is a pyramid, it can create a lot of frustration. And in one case there was a suicide, but otherwise there is a lot of unhappiness. So I had to explain to them that your motivation has to be raised to a higher level. And after all, you are not going to be all your life in the army, 15, 20 years, and after that there is the whole of life. So a series of talks I had to give there. Then I went to Pune, where I gave a talk at the National Defence Academy. And they have an institute called, I forgot the name, which harmonizes all the religions, Hindus, Muslims, Sikhs, Parsis, etc., etc. So I had to give a talk there. Now General Joshi was the Southern Army commander, in charge of that whole area, right from Gujarat to the tip of South India. Very big man. And General Chatterjee asked me to go and give him a letter because he was the previous army commander there. A personal letter. So I rang up and said, I would like to come and meet you for 5 minutes. I'll hand over his letter. So he gave me time, 11:15. So I went. Then he started talking with me, and what was supposed to be 5 minutes became 1.5 hours. Till 1 o'clock, I had a discussion with him. He was very interested in Shravindo. He was very interested in how to bring spirituality into the army, and he was very interested in the freedom movement. So, it was a matching of minds straight away. So then I came back, and then he began to write to me. Then he was promoted and became Western Army Commander, posted in Chandigarh. And then 1993, yes. I had to go for a cataract operation in April in the Ashram nursing home. I came back home and I heard on the radio that General Bipin Joshi has been appointed the army chief, and he will take over on July 2nd. I was happy. I wrote a letter to him congratulating him, all by post. There was nothing else at that time. I don't know how he found out. I had no telephone. There was a telephone downstairs. He found out the telephone, rang me, and then I went and talked. And he said, "You are coming to Delhi and staying with me. You will be my advisor." I said, "What the hell? What advice will I give you? I know nothing of military tactics." He said, No. You have to give me advice on motivation, leadership, these things."
So you would have to leave the school.
So I had to tell Pranadda and asked him what to do. He said, "No, go. This is more important than what you are doing here. Because this will, the field is much bigger." So I went over to Delhi. They made a very beautiful suite for me. A little bigger than this, 3 rooms. My room, dining room, where I could meet people, bathroom, etc., etc. And I stayed in a school, in an army public school. And then I began to take classes. Human cycle. Ideal of human unity. 80 students per class.
Oh.
But still there was some kind of opening and they felt nice. And there was a tennis court there. I used to play tennis with them, basketball with them. Became part of them, And then General Joshi said that I told him that I am coming and staying here with you on one condition, that you must allow me to come here 4 or 5 times a year at your cost. He said, "Nothing, it is peanuts." He offered me 30,000 rupees. I said no. But they gave me 3,000 rupees. So I used to come for all the darshans, for my birthday and for Ratnadi's birthday. So I used to come here 6 times a year. That was the agreement we made. And then he came to to Chennai. I said, "Having come to Chennai, why don't you come to Pondicherry, to the ashram?" So at 11:30, he took a helicopter from Chennai, came to Pondicherry, stayed at a government house, and since he was leaving early next morning, they arranged a talk in the Hall of Harmony at 12:30. Lunch was finished earlier. They all came at 12:30 and he gave a very inspiring talk. And that really the whole ashram was turned around, Then I went to Delhi on 10th of January 1994. They gave me a very big, as I said, suite to stay. And he gave me 2 months' time. By April 24th, you must give me this doctrine. I had to work very, very hard. Motivation, leadership, and the Indian nation. And then I sent it to him. He said I sat up whole night and made a few minor corrections. But then I told him that what you have put, he told me, is very good. I understand. But I want it for everybody. So it has to be put in less philosophical language and more practical and military language. So I will give you a gentleman who is at that time Major General, who is very spiritual, and he will sit with you and work out the whole thing. So his name was Lieutenant General Iyengar. Wonderful, wonderful. Yesterday I had a talk with him. Every week we chat. His wife was a geography teacher in that school, 4,000 students, extremely popular teacher. So then I stayed there, and because of that stay I travelled almost the whole of India. Right from Rameshwaram, Bangalore, Chennai, Secunderabad, Pune, Calcutta, you name. Wherever there was an army unit, I've gone and spoken to them there. But he said these pieces are very good, but what I want is a doctrine which the army officers can follow. So, a doctrine of how to not lose their motivation, based entirely on Sri Aurobindo's words and Mother's words. What are the qualities that you need to be a leader? And you are fighting for what? For the Indian nation. Indian nation is not a piece of land. It's a living soul. All that I wrote 45, 50 pages. He sat through it, went through the whole thing. And then there is a center, the army has got certain training commands. East, west, north, south, central. Now they've added another one, northwest. And there was one more, Army Training Command, ATC, where all officers have to go for training for 2 years. So he said this doctrine has to be sent to them and they will use it for increasing their motivation, etc., etc. So I finished it in 2 months. It was very hard work. He sent it to Shimla. Now it has become part of the army doctrine. So every officer has to go through that. So they are exposed to Sri Aurobindo and they are exposed to Mother. He told me, and this mother also had told me, that when you talk about us, don't talk about us, talk about the ideas and the values. Then they will ask, from where did you get this? Then I'll say, oh, from Sri Aurobindo and Mother. Can you suggest a book? So I said, yes. So I suggested Dalal's books, Living Within, Growing Within, and there are 3 books, something else. You can't believe that within 6 months about 5,000 copies are ordered. Because it meant something to them. So I stayed there in 1994, January 10th. And then on the 15th of November, I went and told General Joshi that I would like to go to Pondicherry because Mother's passing away date is coming. He says, no, don't go. I said, sir, I bought the ticket already. He said, that is not a problem, that I will manage. Then I told him, for me it is sentimental. I want to be there on Mother's Day. So he said, all right, but he was not happy. I came, 17th was over. 18th night I was to start. 18th at 9 o'clock, telephone call from his office, from his family, passed away. Playing golf, got a massive heart attack, he died. Immediately I took the first plane, went to Bangalore instead of Chennai, went to Delhi. I was able to see his body. Next day the cremation was done with typical military honors. And then I said that I'm going to go back to Pondicherry because he told me that before I retire, return to Pondicherry. Because I have called you on a personal basis. There is no guarantee that the next man will like you. So you go back. So I informed the Adjutant General that I am going back to Pondicherry. He said, no, don't go. First meet the new chief. So I went and met the new chief, Shankar Roy Chaudhary, Bengali. Not as forceful and dynamic but a wonderful man. And he was pacing up and down, and I was sitting and we were talking. Then we sat down and we had a long chat. What were you doing with General Joshi? So I explained to him everything. You are not going. You are staying back and you will continue the same thing. So I continued for 1 more year. And I used to write his talks, which were not connected with military things. For example, how to develop bravery, how to develop self-sacrifice. So they have their own doctrine, but I added, and he took all of them. And we have remained very good friends. Even today, we talk once a week or once in 10 days. So in 1995 end, I told him, sir, I would like to go back to Pondicherry, but I will help you. I will tell you how. I said, once I come here, I will hold workshops in Pondicherry. And you select the officers who should come here. So in 96 we started, 96, 97, 98, 99. Twice a year, officers would be selected by our track, the training command, 12 senior officers, lieutenant generals, major generals, brigadiers. They would stay in our guest houses free of charge. I asked Kunuma and Pranamda, I said, no, don't take any money from them. They will eat in the corner house, and on Saturday they will come on Sunday. Sunday evening they go to the Samadhi. Monday 8 to 11:30 till Saturday, till Friday, workshops. Evening they go and see the departments. And Saturday they go to Shobhina's room, and I insisted they must go in full uniform. So they used to wear their uniform and go up. And when anybody who sees an army officer in uniform is bowled out. So they used to go up, and they were very moved. And when General Joshi came here and gave the talk, I arranged with, I don't remember who was there at that time, that General Joshi will go at night. 8 o'clock he went, he, his son, his wife, and a few of his staff officers and myself, 6 or 7 of us, meditated there for 15 minutes. When he came out, tears were flowing out of his eyes. So that was something unbelievable. Very unfortunately, he died. Because if he had lived, many things would have happened in the army. Shankar Roy Chaudhary was a very good man. He didn't have that dynamism and that push. But he was a man of very good will. His wife was an excellent person. Her name was Krishna. So we used to hold those workshops, and twice a year, Monday to Friday, Saturday morning, and then Saturday night they would all go. So these workshops have had a huge impact. So those people, even now they ring me up. So there is one Brigadier Jairam. He used to come regularly, not regularly, once or twice. They used to bring their family, Jyoti and the daughter. Every day in the morning, Jyoti rings me up. Hello Kittuda, how are you? Constantly is in touch with me. And one of the reasons for our friendship was, beside the army, she was coming from Chennai to Pondicherry, and just before reaching Jipmer, crossing Jipmer, the car fell into a ditch. So they were admitted to Jipmer. She rang me up at 10:30 at night from Jipmer. I went straight there. And then they were put in the general ward. It was very dirty, so I managed to get them a separate room. And next morning I told Ratna that I am going there to the hospital because my army friends, she and her mother. She said, no, you are not going alone, I am coming with you. These are all ladies. She brought breakfast, sandwich, this, that. So when she came with me and she had their lunch, their breakfast. Then I rang up Dilitda and said I would like to bring them to nursing home. He said immediately, brought them to nursing home. Her husband came immediately from Chennai and transferred them to the Army Medical Hospital in Chennai. That made a permanent friendship. And oh my God, she is in absolute love with Rasadi. So she has written a poem. Whenever she comes, she weeps. It's very troubling for me. But that is how, Then this continued for another 4 or 5 years. Then, as the chiefs change, and in the army everything is top down. So that chief was not so interested in spirituality. Because there is a notion which is there in spirituality makes you weak and otherworldly. And the army doesn't need that. But the other chiefs have understood. But now that this doctrine has gone to our track in Shimla, people are reading, they're finding that no, on the contrary, it makes them stronger. Because you are fighting for the soul of India. So that is how the whole thing developed. And now I don't travel much, but we are in regular touch.
Oh, it's a wonderful story. Did you ever join the army?
No. I knew nothing of the army.
Nothing.
But now I realize that if I had known about the army when I was young, I would have asked mother that I would like to join the army.
Ah.
But then when mother was there, there's no question of joining anything.
Could you elaborate a little bit about the doctrine that you introduced?
I will send it to you by email.
Okay.
Good.
Hmm?
Good.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
It is motivation, leadership, and the Indian nation.
Great. Thank you.
So that's it.